Hello and welcome to the Doctor's Phenomenon LEP Frequency Toolbox program, where you learn to work with energy to create the life that you want to face. I'm Dr. Phenomena, your host, and on today's segment, we are going to learn about lack and survival consciousness fields. We are going to identify whether you, in fact, are vibrating in the lack and survival consciousness field, how it operates, and what you can do to shift out of its energies and move into a higher vibration. The lack and survival consciousness is the densest in all of the consciousness fields because it moves the slowest. But it is really where most humanity move. It is the lowest energy field with particularly unstable, fluctuating moods. There's a lot of stress, discords, energy that's not controlled. It's really the cause and effect of energies with kind of a victim mentality where life is happening to you without you directing your life. People really fluctuate, even if they can maintain a higher energy and move into a higher frequency. If you haven't left the low lack and survival frequencies, you will be pulled back into it, especially if you tend to fluctuate between moods, sadness, happiness, peace, anxiety, sadness, joy. Lack and survival energies cause irrational environments where people are not thinking clearly, but more from their ego perspective. And it's not, it's not a balanced energy. It's where the both mental and emotional, immaturity kind of reigns in that lower form, of energy. People are very often overwhelmed on every level. And today, with the lack and survival consciousness, we are going to discuss all of the vibrational frequencies, the mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual frequencies, so that you have a good grasp of how the lack and survival energies are operating in your mental, emotional, physical, and sensory spiritual frequencies. You can actually identify through those frequencies if you are, in fact, vibrating in lack and survival, in those highly challenging and stressful energies, when you are taking the assessments in the mental assessments, the emotional assessments, the physical and sensory and spiritual assessments. And by the way, they can all be found in the book, Only Good Comes to Me, Dr. Anna Harvey. Please purchase it. You will need it to follow along with the segments and to really utilize the tool to its fullest. The assessments are fabulous and they are timeless. Energy is timeless, and so is work with energy. So please do refer to them and take them often. That's so important that you take them often because it's all about the currency. Moods fluctuate and vibrational frequencies also fluctuate within the person. And so it's important that you always know where you are vibrating, so that you can stay away from the victim mentality and understand and work with the power that you have available to raise yourself to higher frequencies. So if you are vibrating at a low energy of lack and survival, usually frustration, anger, sadness, fear, all of that will reign in your domain. Okay, and your lived experiences are going to reflect that. They're going to reflect challenges. They're going to reflect, a life, a mental and emotional and physical life, an environment where life is a challenge. Life is a challenge. It's as if you're constantly swimming upstream, overwhelming sometimes. Many times just want to give up, maybe perhaps unmotivated, because those are all lower energies. They're not inspiring. They are more captive. And the more you feel that lower presence, those lower energies, the more that you are sending them out into the universe, because your personal vibration through the emotional, mental, and physical, sensory, and spiritual vibrational fields, you are collectively, through all of those, collectively sending out a vibrational signature. So if you are feeling low, thinking low thoughts, and hold low images in your mind, which of course translates to, not a lot of motivation or inspiration and physical actions that are not pursuing dreams and opportunities, but more of a discordant nature, then you're definitely vibrating in those lower frequencies. And you will be experiencing less desirable outcomes, because the energy that you are sending is drawing that back to you due to the law of vibration, the law of attraction, and the law of polarity, which are our physical laws of how the universe operates. It has no choice but to return to you what you are sending to it. So it's really up to you to lift yourself into a higher vibrational frequency and shift into the dedication consciousness, which is the next consciousness field. So you want to definitely use the frequency tool to get started, and first assess. I think it's assessment A2 in the book, and assess if you're actually vibrating in that frequency. But let's take a look at them individually. So let's look at the mental frequency and the lack and survival consciousness. Here, your mental strength and effort should be placed on guarding your thoughts, because they are your determinants, really, of how quickly you can raise out of the lack and survival energies. This is where thoughts must be monitored at all times, as the general energy of the lack and survival usually fills the mind with worry, and mental anxiousness, over roles and responsibilities. For the most part, created through, external, situations, or economic or even self-inflicted means. Okay. But, life generally mentally feels heavy. People feel mentally fatigued in the lack and survival energies, often engulfed in a cloud of problems that they can't find any solutions to, because they are only tapping into, a much lowered frequency in the consciousness. They don't have the expanded consciousness of the higher frequencies. So life feels mentally heavy. The mind is filled with images of stress, and failed expectations, which only reaffirms the energy's emergence in their life. Because again, what you sent out is what you get back. So if that is what you are sending out, that kind of an energy that, you are in the survival mode and you are lacking in life, that's exactly what you are going to get back. So, on this mental energy plane of lack and survival, everything is happening to you, to the person. And the person feels powerless, limited, with very little control over their life. They're just basically making ends meet, surviving every day. There's no room for, joy or inspiration or creating the life that they truly deserve, or the future that they want to face, So playing the victim, or playing the victim of circumstances, all the power comes from somewhere outside of yourself, is not the way to go. That's really step number one, to ensure in your consciousness that you know that the power is within you. And through the LEP Frequency Tool, you can use the tool to raise yourself and shift yourself out of the lack and survival energies into a higher mental, emotional, physical, and a spiritual, and also sensory consciousness, so that your life can be vibrating and you become alive on every level. So as you rise in the mental frequency, you will quickly realize the truth, that you don't have to beg God for assistance. God already have given you all of the tools that you need, your consciousness, the LEP frequency tool that you can use, and the energy that all of the universe creates with. So why can't you create with that same energy? If the Empire State Building can be built just through a thought and a piece of paper and a pen, and whoops, 2 years later, there it is, without computers or anything else. It was strictly created through thought, like everything else. You can lift yourself out of the lack and survival energies. You can do anything. You can get a better job. You can get a better relationship. You can get a better house. There are no limits to your potential. All is available to you once you lift yourself out of the lack and survival energies through raising your mental, emotional, sensory, physical, and spiritual consciousness fields. Okay. In the lack and survival on that energy plane, people almost move in that hypnotic, automatic rhythm, largely unaware and unobservant, of life, and not caring about the small joys of positive energy that surrounds them, And the low energy can come in many forms. It can come from mental stress, from financial matters, from relationship issues. It can come from health, just any kind of an issue, friendship that you are finding that is draining. But the only way to move out of that and move through it is to raise yourself out of that energy. And increasing mental frequencies may seem difficult at first, because when you are in that low frequency, you tend to think, that life is just such a struggle, But fortunately, even though life may seem difficult at first, or raising yourself out of the low frequencies into higher frequencies will be at first difficult at first, fortunately, beliefs that are consistent with the flow of the universe manifest more easily than those that go against the grain. And I think Stubbs said that in 1999. So if you remain in a harmonious mental energy, he meant, regardless of the discordant storms that may rage around you, especially in the densest of frequencies of really the cause and effect of energies, because in the lack and survival, everything seems to be about the cause and effect, and there's no greater picture. But if you can just believe in the universal truth that, all power is available to you, and that your mental strength really is self-sustained, you can quickly raise in frequencies. Absolutely. Because you have the ability to change your mental structures from lower to higher frequencies simply by changing your thoughts. Because changing your thoughts changes the images in your mind, which changes the feelings, which changes the behaviors and actions that follow, and the effort. So when you change your mental structure, you will change the behavior and the actions, which will produce much higher tangible results for you. Okay, so when you are in the lack and survival frequencies, and you are taking the assessment, and you find that mentally you are vibrating at a low frequency, the way to do that, to witness tangible improvements quickly out of these denser energies, is to start thinking from a higher perspective and changing the thoughts to a higher vibration, to a positive, only good comes to me vibration. And all outer influences is just energy that needs to be managed. That's all it is. And you will manage that energy when you manage your thoughts and come from a higher perspective with your thoughts, from a higher expectation, predicting good things for yourself and thinking good things, because then the images are being replaced that were negative and discordant into good positive images that will immediately activate your feelings. And the lack and survival energies will now be activated through better feelings about the situation, and the expectancy of only good things to come, which is going to raise you in frequency into the next shift of dedication, where you truly will learn in the LEP Frequency Tool how to completely control your thoughts, images, and feelings, so that you can, in the absorption consciousness, in the high consciousness energy, use the powers of contemplation and intention to really create what you want and what you need in your life. So that when you reach the connection consciousness, which is the highest consciousness that you can reach, you truthfully are living in, a life of bliss where you can create at will. So if you find that you are existing in the mental energies of the lack and survival consciousness, do not fret or despair. This is your opportunity to use mental energy until the inner mind becomes sufficiently obedient, okay, and learns how to use the newfound mental strength that you are going to get by using the LEP Frequency Tool. And I think it's assessment A2 that deals with a lot of the mental frequencies. so that you can identify if in fact you are vibrating in the mental lack and survival energies. Or perhaps you're not. Maybe you are higher, But you can use this newfound really strength and information and understand that you have to think only uplifting thoughts, because what you are sending is what you are going to get back. So release all old mental resentments and mental patterns, grievances, and so on, from this point on, and carefully guard your thought chambers. Govern your thoughts and challenge them when you are finding that you are not thinking for your highest good. So that you are always thinking of thoughts that may serve you, not thoughts that do not serve you. Because those thoughts turn to images, and images turn to feelings. And that is what activates all of the challenges and all of the other energy that comes back to us. Because the overall vibrational frequency of all of the thoughts, images, and feelings, along with your combined physical and spiritual properties, give your overall vibration that signature that the universe reads, so it can give you what you are sending. Thus, if you are in a low vibration, always depressed, always anxious, not expecting the best in your mental thoughts, and then they're replaced with, sort of positive images, discordant images, you are technically solidifying that only bad things come to you, because that is what you are thinking. And the law of attraction and the law of physics, the law of vibration stipulates, it's basic physics, like attracts like and repels unlike itself. So if you want good things to come to you, think from a higher expectancy. Images in the mind must be of higher frequencies. If you want feelings to result from that energy, from the thought and image energy, and bring to you what you want, not what you don't want. Okay? Because everything is created from the same substance, from that same matter. Okay? And it's all powered by thought. Okay. So in order to leave the dense vibrations of the lack and survival consciousness, you must raise your mental consciousness through the adjustments of thoughts and images held in your mind. And the law of vibration and attraction is going to ricochet these high vibrations to you and will raise your mental consciousness frequency. So, you will need to mentally change the pictures that you are putting in your mind and focus your thoughts from a much higher expectant point of view in the lack and survival consciousness if you want to shift out of that energy, which is the only way to move forward and create the life that you want, because there is an endless supply of everything you can possibly want in the universe. There is no lack. There's only perceived lack. And in the lack and survival consciousness, humanity moves in that lower cause and effect stage that's just so unobservant and so, unaware and too preoccupied with life's challenges to even care or notice that they have the power to change their life, So, and the lack and survival energies take many forms. They don't discriminate against finances, economics, or social status, or intellect, or beauty, and so on. Every single person can be pulled into the lack and survival energies by having low vibrations in the mental, emotional, physical, sensory, and spiritual consciousness fields. Okay? Every person can have that, because discord is felt in lower energies. It's felt on your mental level, on your emotional level. It can be felt on your physical level where you are not feeling well, affects your well-being, so it affects your sensory perceptions. Life is not nearly as vibrant, or it can be. So, to a person that lives in really the cause and effect of energies, understand that what you put out there is what you are attracting. So what shows up in your life, you are the creator of all that enters into your existence in some manner. So there's no one to blame. As King always contended, Godfrey Ray King always contended that, you are the governor of your life and its activity. And you are commanded to choose what you desire to manifest through your thoughts. So if you want a better life, you have to control your thoughts and be able to apply them from a positive perspective on everything that happens to you, and look at everything that happens to you as only outer influences that must be managed, not some great tragedy, because it's all energy. Everything is energy. It's how you respond to it that matters. And if you can respond to it from a higher frequency, you're going to get a better response back. Okay. And then when you get a better response back mentally in the lack and survival energies and a mental consciousness, your consciousness will expand. Better answers will come to you. You will tap into energies you did not have before and find solutions that you did not think of before, but you will now, because you are moving out of the lack and survival energies. So, definitely think from a higher perspective. Very, very, very important. And not only the mental energies and being able to harmoniously control your mental aspects, but, controlling emotions is also integral, because emotions have such an influence on life and on the decisions and how you see the world, decisions you make and how you see the world. So, be so cognizant of emotions, because uncontrolled emotions, they manifest unintended discordant effects. That's what they do. Uncontrolled emotions manifest unintended discordant effects. And that's what's happening in the lack and survival consciousness. Your emotions are running out of control. So you are consequently manifesting things that you don't want as opposed to the things that you do need. So to move out of the lack and survival energies, it is crucial to control your thoughts and emotions, and emotions, by the way, also control the ego. So it's important not to make decisions from the low energies of the ego-directed emotions, because to move up in frequency and achieve consistent higher vibrations, you have to take the ego out of the equation, and focus on maintaining harmonious feelings. The ego has its function. The ego is your protector. It is the ego that tells you, oh, that person's taking advantage of you, or, this person is, perhaps, offending you in some way. But the ego is always coming with an agenda. And it's always coming with a selfish agenda of you first. And that's not harmonious. That's not balanced. So you have to, you absolutely have to control the ego, because it's only through controlling the ego you can control your emotions and come from a higher place, from a higher place, using true judgment instead of ego-based decisions. Because you have to focus on maintaining harmonious feelings, and the ego, because it's slanted towards you, is not going to allow for that. The ego will cause a lot of discord and claim that you should be offended over things that you should not be offended. Because one of the quickest ways to raise out of the lack and survival energies in the emotional consciousness is to stop being offended by everything and start being more emotionally mature. You don't have to be offended by everything. You can choose to walk away and not be offended by something. Be of lighter nature. That is one way to increase vibrational frequencies. And use that emotion, that combined momentum of you giving people a break and vibrating higher, to continue to do that. Because the more attention you place on coming from a higher frequency, using your emotion, okay, the more your vibrational frequency will increase through your feelings. So it is vital that in the lack and survival energy, all emotion is controlled, usually at first appearance, if you can get it, if you can get to it, and view things impersonally. Again, you have to be offended by everything. When you take the higher road with your emotions, you are showing emotional maturity. And when you are showing emotional maturity, you're vibrating higher. So now if you are thinking higher thoughts and you are vibrating higher on your emotional perspective, you are now raising your entire vibrational frequency. You are raising your power to create. And especially if you are in the lack and survival, energies, you are absolutely creating, you are blasting and, trailblazing a new path for yourself to higher vibrations. So, get a hold of your scattered emotions, because they can create violent outbursts, which create unfortunate results because they're all coming from lower energies. Okay. And are driven by the ego. And as we know, the ego has its own agenda, and it's not always in our best interest. So, it is really of utmost importance to increase frequencies through harmonious alignment with thoughts and images, because they particularly they grow the feelings within you and strengthen the feelings that cause your mental and emotional stability. All right. It is when your feelings get involved and your feelings are controlled and balanced that, you have control over your mental and emotional consciousness, and you can move forward now and start creating from a positive place, from a more higher perspective. Emotional energies are so detrimental because they always poke at the ego. Are you getting enough? Are you the best? The ego has great strength, and it's a worthy opponent if you let it. And people will go through great lengths to protect their ego, even if it's the detriment to themselves. But you don't want to be in that space. You want to be able to control the ego, and you want to be able to control your life so that you can focus on creating it the way that you want it. And for that, you have to have harmonious thoughts and images in your mind of higher frequencies. So raise your vibrations higher and, become aware of your low emotions within you by deliberately fixing your attention on them. And when you are finding that you are in the low emotional energy, immediately think of something joyful, something that makes you feel good. Pick up the book. Only Good Comes to Me. Read a chapter. It will it will empower you. It will make you feel good because the book is charged with positive energy that you will find that you will actually feel empowered by through the information that you find within its pages. So, and if you ever find a situation that you cannot control, that you can't control your emotions, or find a positive way to handle that discordant feeling or that discordant energy, just move away from it immediately. It is perfectly acceptable to tell a thought to get out of your mind. Tell your thought just to get out. You can refuse to think certain thoughts, and you can refuse to feel certain feelings, certain emotions. And in the lack and survival energies, this is where you get the strength and courage to actually begin working with these energies and putting a stop to that. Okay? Move away from the thoughts and move away from the feelings, and just refuse to think of them. And that will bring you to a higher energy immediately, because you have turned your back on any discordant thing that may bring you to a lower, denser energy. Thereby, you are retaining your higher frequency and moving out of the lack and survival energies, because that's really what it is. It's lack and survival, those energies. And it doesn't have to be a financial thing. It doesn't have to be a relationship. It's just collectively you are vibrating in low energy. You are lacking a sense of purpose. Whether it's a sense of purpose in life, whether you're lacking that the life that you dreamed of, or there's some component of you that's lacking, it can have to do with financial rewards. Absolutely. Economic stress. It can have to do with lack of love, lack of a relationship, lack of friendships, but it doesn't have to be anything specific when you are in the lack and survival energies. You can have, millions of dollars and be in great relationships and still be moving in lack and survival, because you are not where you need to be, where your soul's purpose is, or what you need to truly fulfill you. So in the lack and survival energies, the thoughts and images are extremely important, but so is the physical and sensory frequencies when they vibrate in dull senses, because that's what happens. Your physical self-image of yourself, how you look, your physical attraction. You don't think that you look fantastic. You find faults within yourself and your body and your self-image. You don't see the world in vibrant colors. You know, there may be illness, pain, discomfort within the body itself when you are in the low physical sensory frequencies and the lack in survival consciousness. You know, the physical body has been created to act at a lower rate of vibration, and that is the natural vehicle provided. But that does not mean that it has to live in lower, denser vibrations, because the physical body is capable and can attain great frequencies even in the current dense forms. Godfrey Ray King, I think it was in 2011, had said that, your body is made of a lower, denser vibration, because the physical body is heavier matter than let's say thought, which is a lighter vibration. Which is has a higher speed, higher frequency. But it doesn't mean that you can't use it to attain great things. And when you are using your thoughts and images, you are forming your thought forms in your consciousness, and now you are fortifying them in the images in your mind. And now you've just, you have learned to master the feeling behind it. So now you have eliminated self-doubt and now are living in the expectancy of that desire coming forward. In the physical and sensory lack and survival energies, you now have the motivation to actually physically go after that dream in your physical body, whether it's making that phone call, going on Google, finding whatever it is that you need, or networking, or joining clubs, or getting other jobs, or whatever it entails in your physical body. You can now use that body and use it as a shift to a higher energy when you have mentally and emotionally aligned with the higher vibration. Your physical and sensory frequencies will also align with that higher vibration. And you are going to experience, a brighter sensory system. Whereas in the lack and survival consciousness, usually sensory systems, and here I refer to the 5 senses, such as sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch, and actually even the 6th sense of the psychic ability, they tend to be very dull. And by that I mean, you may be walking by a beautiful field of roses, but you may not stop to smell them. Or you may acknowledge that you see them, but you won't see the beauty, the vibrancy of the colors that you would in higher frequencies. Okay, if you were to, let's say, be in the dedication or even the absorption consciousness, where just everything comes to life. All color is vibrant and rich. Touch is sensual. Smell is beyond any aroma you've ever experienced. You will taste in flavors you never knew existed, because such is the shift, such is the outcomes of the shift into higher energies. But in a lack and survival energies, there's a dullness in these senses. Okay, there's a dullness. You're basically living in functionality and survival, and it doesn't really allow the person to experience the pleasure of the 5 senses. You're just seeing, but you're not really seeing. You're not seeing with the enrichment that you can. You're not seeing the aliveness of things. You're not seeing the energy behind things. You're not seeing the beauty of the color, of life, of flavor, of just that each setting can offer. So, people's eyes are open and their senses are functioning. But as Frederick Frank had asserted, once the art of seeing is lost, meaning is lost. And then all life becomes even more meaningless, And they know what? They don't know, or they don't see what they look at, They don't see the beauty of what they look at. They just see and vision. And in the lack and survival energies, it's very easy for life to become meaningless. Very easy. Because it's such a struggle and everything. You're constantly swimming upstream. Things don't fall into place. They fall out of place in the lack and survival energies. And it's tiring. Okay, it's tiring to remain there and constantly, deal with the perceived lack, and being overwhelmed. The lack of survival consciousness can hold people captive all their life if you don't move out of those energies, if you don't increase in frequencies. Because the energy systems continuously produce physical sensations that people get accustomed to. So if you are seeing the world in a certain way, you are skewed to see the world in a certain way. And if you are seeing lack, you're going to see lack in everything. In your mental, emotional, physical, sensory, and spiritual levels, you're going to see lack in everything. And it's going to reflect in how you are feeling. It's going to reflect in the kind of faith that you have. It's going to reflect in how you look. Dr. Dyer once said, if you change the way you look at something, what you look at changes. What you look at changes because you are now looking at something with appreciative eyes from a different energy perspective. So if you can look at something from a higher frequency is going to bring you an expansion of consciousness, meaning more answers that come out of nowhere. Brilliance, moments of brilliance that you will have no idea where they came from. Flashes of intelligence that will shock you, that you actually had thought of that. Because you are tapping into higher frequencies. All right? And especially if you can align your emotions with your thoughts. And then your physical body, start listening to your physical body. Start listening to, the cues that it sends. Start looking at your body as beautiful with appreciative eyes. That there are no flaws. That flaws are beautiful because that's what makes you unique. So if you want to lift out of the lack and survival energies, you need to think from those higher physical perspectives. Okay? And do not hurry and prejudge anything, but instead take the time to really experience your life, and see your body through patient and appreciative eyes. See all of the things that your body does for you. Your body can become alive in any shift of vibration. Okay, and so listen to his messages, because if there's any misalignment in your physical energy, your body will feel it. And if you listen to it, it will assist you to locate what it needs, and you can align it. You can align it. So you will feel better, you will look better if you move out of the dense lack and survival energies simply by seeing yourself and your body and listening to your body, making it the most important thing, establishing a relationship with it, because it's that relationship that's going to raise you and align you with the higher thoughts and the higher images and now the higher feelings from a much more mature perspective of knowing again that everything is just an outer influences that you can manage through your thought and feelings and your physical body. Okay. So, absolutely do not be critical or judgmental over your physical, appearance, and understand that the cause of lack is only perceived and it's not real. It's simply a matter of moving higher, shifting from higher vibrational frequencies. The minute you start shifting into higher vibrational frequencies and start thinking from a place of I have everything and there is no lack, then the world will provide a setting and an environment for you in your lived experiences where there is no lack. Okay, there is no survival, because you are now attracting to you positive, higher energy thoughts where there is no perception of lack. If there's no perception of lack in your thoughts, images, and feelings, there can't be a perception of lack in your physical existence. Okay? So control the ego. Learn to appreciate the body for how it looks and the important function that it gives. It's some are too concerned about taking care of it to even listen to it. It's great to take care of your body, and that's the number one thing that you need to do on the physical level from the lack and survival consciousness, because when you look better, you'll feel better. But also, you always keep that in perspective, that your body, your physical appearance and how your body looks must be in line with what you think and who you are, the images in your mind. And you must radiate who you are, not what you want. Because the energy frequency only responds to the energy that you are putting out. So it doesn't respond to what you want or what you need. It responds to who you are. So if you start vibrating at a higher frequency, what you need will come to you automatically, automatically. And, if you take care of your body as well in the lack and survival energy, start taking much better care of it. And I mean, really better care of it. Start paying attention to your body, groom it. Always look your best. If you want to get out of the lack and survival frequencies, always look your best. Look your best. Okay. If you look your best, you'll feel terrific, and you will be less susceptible to dis-ease or disease. So, absolutely. The better the health of the individual, it's really the higher the vibrational, physical, and sensory frequency. Open your eyes, see the world, see the vibrant colors, see every sense, every flavor when you're eating, definitely, taste the food, taste the flavor, all of that, smell the aroma. All of these things will lift you into higher vibrational frequencies. When you touch something, actually feel the texture of that, and is it sensual? Put positive spins on things. It'll allow you to have extraordinary sensory experiences. So one of the other things that I want to touch on is also the spiritual frequency that you will need. In order to be successful and move out of the lack and survival energies. Now that your thoughts are aligned with your images, and the images are aligned with your feelings, and now you've understood how the physical body operates based on your images and feelings, and you're using it to, not only live and function, but you can also use it to feel good about you, that there's good and beauty in it, and that your body is your vehicle, and you have to protect it, and you have to treat it well. And that body also encompasses your spiritual energies, and raising your spiritual energy is really done very quickly by affirming your faith. Not only the faith in the source consciousness, God, or whatever you want to label, but a faith in yourself. It's letting go of ego and having enough confidence to know that all the power is within you, and that you can achieve anything that you put your mind to. Raising your spiritual beliefs lifts the clouds over any low energies. When you are in the lack and survival energies, and you move in spiritual frequencies, and by that I mean you look at faith, you look at your confidence, you squash the ego. You change the perception from lack to working from a higher spiritual frequency of faith, And a lot of times this requires removing the egocentric temptations, that foster these things like envy and anger, and vindictiveness, jealousy, competition, and live to desire in different kind of vibrations, spiritual vibrations like love and kindness and compassion. If you want to immediately lift out of the low lack of survival spiritual energies, be compassionate, be kind. That immediately will lift you into higher frequencies. Immediately. It's automatic. Anytime you show kindness or compassion, you are lifted into higher spiritual vibrations. So, having faith in yourself and confidence that there is a higher spirit, and that you are part of that spirit, and that you have the energy and the power to use to be able to move out of lack and survival energies into higher frequencies. You have the belief, and now you have the faith to do it. And you have to continue on with that faith. You have to continue on with that faith, and live in that vibration, that high vibration. Because when you live from that high vibration of only good comes to me, in the lack and survival energies, come from that spiritual venue, from that spiritual position that only good comes to me, only good can come to you, because due to the law of physics, that is what you are sending out. So that is exactly what you're going to get back. Only good will come to you. So to move out of the lack and survival consciousness, evolve out of low energies expand your consciousness, and allow a greater flow of spiritual energy to surge through you by having faith in yourself and having faith in the source and having faith in the LEP Frequency Tool, that you can use all of the resources that are available to you to lift yourself into a higher vibration, that are high vibration. Because when you do that, you will realize that there is such pleasure in higher energies, and being in a lack and survival energies, you've been stifled all along. And now that you're able to move into higher energies, you're experiencing life from a completely different point of view. You are seeing things differently. Just like Dr. Dyer said, when you change the way you look at something, what you look at changes. And when you change the vibrational frequency from the very low, dense energies of the lack and survival that are so limiting mentally, emotionally, spiritual, physically, you realize very quickly that you have a brand new interpretation of reality waiting for you in higher vibration, much more aligned with who you are and what you need in life. And you can attain it all, everything. So in the lack and survival energies, you will have to use your mental, emotional, spiritual, and sensory and physical consciousness fields. Always think from a positive perspective. Listen to your body. Align your thoughts, images, and feelings correctly from a higher perspective. And in a very short time, you will leave the lack and survival energies, and you will move into higher frequencies where all is waiting for you. All is waiting for you. So not only may only good come to you, but may you create the future that you want to face with great ease and move out of the lack and survival frequencies if that is where you are. And do take the assessments. Again, purchase the book if you haven't done so already. www.lepeducation.com and take the assessments and see if you are vibrating in the lack and survival energies. And if you are, please use the instructions and the processes on all consciousness levels. And I mean that in each consciousness level of mental, emotional, physical, sensory, and spiritual, to rise into to increase your vibrational frequencies so that you can rise into the next field of dedication consciousness, where you can start having complete control, where you can learn to have complete control over your thoughts, images, and feelings, and be able to direct and focus them into positive things, into positive venues, so that you can begin to start creating the future that you want to live and face. So thank you so much again for joining me today. I am always honored to have spent some time with you. I appreciate your time, and please continue to subscribe and click like if you're on the YouTube channel. Also refer to my website, www.lepeducation.com, for my future seminars. We are touring, and hopefully we are somewhere near you. The seminars are complete with violent energy meditation sessions and question and answer segments with me, Dr. Phenomenon. So we hope to see you on the road. Continue to follow the podcast. Please add this lack and survival consciousness segment to your own personal LEP frequency toolbox, and continue building your toolbox. Continue building your frequency toolbox, because it's your lived experience phenomena that is taking place right now that you are creating. So thank you again. I'm honored to have spent some time with you. Stay blessed. Thank you.